So learning anatomy and physiology is like learning a new language. And those of you who have learned a new language, especially if that language was English, understand how hard that really is. So not only are we learning about complex body systems with complex physiology, there are also going to be words you're not familiar with. Typically, anatomy uses Greek and Latin roots, of which there are many. If you speak Spanish or any of the Romance languages, this might actually give you an advantage. So let's talk about this. So let's take this word, hyponatremia. If you don't have a background in anatomy, you may not know what this means, right? But the word hypo, right? Hypo means below normal, so less than, the opposite of hyper. Natri is going to mean sodium. So this means that we're talking about some kind of low amount of sodium. And then this suffix here, emia, means of the blood or blood condition. So what this word means is a low sodium in the blood. And so what I'm going to do throughout the semester is I'm going to take these complex words and try to break them down into things like hypo and hyper. So that if you're looking at a word that you don't know, like hyponatremia, maybe you've seen other things that end in emia and you know that those are blood conditions. So maybe you could have already figured out that hyponatremia had something to do with blood. Another important aspect to this class is that spelling matters, right? So look at these words, brachy and branchi. The only difference between these two words is a single N, but it makes a huge difference in the meaning. So brachy means arm. So if I'm talking about your brachius, I'm talking about an arm. Branchi means lung. So by misspelling the word just a little and adding that N, I change what I'm talking about from an arm to a lung. That's a huge difference. Trapezius and trapezium. The trapezius is a muscle. For those of you who list muscles, this is the big muscle in your back, right? From your neck down to your shoulder blades. The trapezium is a bone in your wrist. So one letter, right, whether it's an S or an M at the end there, changes it from a muscle in your back to a bone in your wrist. Ilium and ilium. These aren't even pronounced differently. Instead of an I, you have an E in the second word. The ilium, I-L-I, is a hip bone, and the ilium, I-L-E, is part of your intestines. So the difference here is between a skeletal structure and a digestive structure. They're completely different. So these are just some very specific examples. But what that means in anatomy lecture, which is this class, as well as the lab, spelling matters. So you need to, in including learning all of the terms, learning all of the anatomy and the physiology, you need to be learning how to spell. Think about the last time you took a spelling test, right? Probably elementary school. What did you do to study for that spelling test? Well, your teacher might have had you write the word ball over and over and over again until you could spell it. That's going to be a really good technique again now. So take a minute and reflect on the precision importance of spelling.